Now, one of the most common coding questions from the coding interviews is to test if an array contains a value or not. This is a simple question, but sometimes interview pressure makes candidates nervous and they get confused. Since arrays in many programming languages does not have any built-in method for search, interviewer prefers to ask this question to see how a candidate deals with such situation. In many programming languages, there are many APIs or libraries to find elements in array. But here, I'm going to use array because many interviewers will surely ask you to write a method to search an element in the array using algorithms. So as we explained in our one of previous lectures, we know how to search for an element inside an array. So here, linear search is very simple to implement. So all you need to do, you'll just loop through the array and check each value if that is the one or not. So for example, if we are given an array like this and we are looking for the value of 40. So to search for the value of 40 over here, we are going to loop through this array and check each element one by one, if the value of this element is equal to the 40 or not. So first we will start from the first element. So in the first element we have 20. So we are checking that, is this the element that we are looking for? We see that it's not, so we are continuing to the next element. So one more time we are checking that, is this the element that we are looking for? We see that it's not, then we are continuing to the next element. Then one more time we are checking that, is this the element that we are looking for? We see that it's not, we are continuing to the next element. So same is applicable over here and we are continuing to the next element. So when we reach the next element, we see that the value of next element is 40. So this is the value that we are looking for. So this means that we are going to return saying that 40 is found at the index of 4. So this is the main logic behind the searching for a value in the array. So we are going to implement this using Java. So I'm going to create our method over here. So as we said before, we are going to do linear search. So that's why I'm going to call our method linear search. So it's going to be public void linear search, and it will take as a parameter an array and the value that we are looking for. So int array, and the second parameter will be also integer, and it's going to be value. So here, the first thing that I'm going to do, I will loop through the array. So I will write our loop like this: for int I equals 0. So the array index starts from 0, that's why I put 0 over here. It will continue until the length of array. So int array dot length, and in each iteration it's going to increase by 1. So inside this loop, we are going to check that if the value of any given cell is equal to this value that we are looking for or not. So I'm going to write if condition like this: if integer array with the index of I is equal to value that we are looking for, so this value comes from this parameter over here, then in this case we are going to return something like this: the value is found at the index of I. So I'm going to print out to the console, system out print value is found at the index of I. So I'm going to concatenate I over here. So if we find the element, we are going to return this message. If the value is not exist in the array, then in this case we are going to return message saying that the value is not found. So we are going to write this message outside of this loop because we need to loop through the array. If we cannot find it, then we are going to print out message to the console saying that the value is not found. So here I'm going to put the value that comes from the parameter. So I'm going to delete this message. So value that comes from parameter plus with the concatenation, so is not found. So with this we have completed our method. So let's see how this is working in practice. So here inside this main method, I'm going to create an integer array in which we have some elements. So for simplicity, I'll put the elements from 1 to 6. Then we are going to call this method to search, for example, for 6 inside this array. So it's going to be like this. So first parameter will be integer array and the second parameter will be 6. So we are looking for 6. So if we run our code, so you see that in this case it returns 2 messages, the value found at the index of 5 and 6 is not found. So the thing is, when we found the value, we need to put return over here. That's why it will not continue to do this part of code after return. So that's why it's returning 2 elements. So I'm going to clear this output and run our code one more time. You'll see that it will return, in this case, the value is found at the index of 5. So the index of 5 is 6 over here. So we are looking for the value of 6. Now, for example, if we look for the value of 7 and run our code, you see that in this case it says that 7 is not found. So this means that 7 is not exist in this array over here. So everything was the way that it is requested. So hopefully everything is clear about this question. So in this question, we have implemented linear search to find out a value in the array. So hopefully everything is clear about this question. So see you in the next question.